cross-play, but it was just a committee that voted to say they're going to move in April to endorse the same policy we have in this bill. So in my mind, they've actually endorsed the bill at this point.
But it's still not an affirmative action. They still have to take additional action for it to become effective. Is
That's
that
right.
correct?
They basically took a hand vote in a committee, and they still have to formally endorse that come April this year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No more questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Blackman.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. House Bill 866 on page 2 under modified structured. It's a bill relating to multiple employer self-insured health plans, and in short, exempts these plans from premium tax. Thank you for your consideration, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions, sir.
Mr. Fleming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative, this is the insurance premium tax that the cities and the counties get?
In the commission, yes, sir.
Okay. Has there been any analysis of what kind of hit that would be to local governments across the state?
Yes, sir. It's $57,000 is the total fiscal note, and I think if you break it down based on the municipalities, it comes out to their portion being about $100 per municipality per year.
So is that the fiscal note is to the impact on the state or to the local governments?
Is total. That's the total fiscal impact. And so I'm breaking it down for you as to what goes to the municipalities and then what it would be per municipality.
And what is the total amount for the local governments?
Half of $57,000.
Okay.
Do the math, I guess, is my understanding. Sir.
Has the local government associations taken a position on your bill?
I know of no opposing views, but I don't know that they have taken a position.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Pack.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I asked for House Bill 741, which is the second bill on the first page. All this does is it moves up the beginning time period for the Supreme Court's term of court. They requested that in light of the fact that their end of term it falls right in the vacation time, the school year, which their staff and members of the court with children are having a tough time adjusting for that. So they request a short adjustment. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Don't mind us. We're having another conversation up here. Any questions from Mr. Pack? No questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I bring before you under modified open rule HB 219, simply stated, this pool bill moves condominium pools from the list of public pools to the list of private pools, which are therefore dictated or are controlled for health and safety purposes by the individual property owner. This is an important private property rights bill, has the full support of the Realtors Association, the Apartment Association, and is not opposed by the Georgia Department of Health. Be happy to answer any questions.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ask for your favorable consideration.
Ms. Buckner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, I'm here to ask for your favorable consideration under modified open rule, the fifth one down, HB 483, the state symbols to name the shoal bass the official sport riverine fish. This will help with economic development and tourism in 3 of our river areas, and it is supported by the commissioner.
No question. We need to get a fish name for that group of rivers down there. So.
Thank you. I appreciate your consideration.
Ms. Stovall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Rules Committee. I come before you asking for consideration for House Bill 614, which is up on the modified open rule, and it's the 4th from the bottom. The Landon Dunston Act is for the placement of video cameras in the classrooms of special needs students that are in self-contained classrooms. It is not a mandate, it is a voluntary for the school system, and we do have the support of Department of Education.
No questions.
All right. Now, I also ask for consideration for House Bill 497. It is right above HB 614. It's surplus property for nonprofits that have no more than 15 employees and have been in existence for at least 2 years. And it would allow for the Department of Administrative Services to allow them to have surplus property up to a $2,000 value. And we've gotten the clearance and understanding about the gratuity issue, being that it will be conveyed to them for public interest.
Ms. Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a friendly question. What kind of properties does the state have that meet the requirements that might be conveyed to a charity?
Okay. Right now, the state now, whenever there are state departments or local government that have excess property, whether it's equipment or anything that they no longer need, so it's used goods.
Okay.
And so, okay.
We're talking not about buildings necessarily.
No,
We're talking about equipment
no.
and all.
And it's only up to a $2,000 value.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
No questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ask for your favorable consideration on the two bills.
Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would like to ask for House Bill 193. It's a Insurance Agent Protection Act. I didn't mention this last time, dealing with a life settlement, which would disallow a life insurance company to retaliate against a life agent expressing living benefits.
Any questions? No questions. Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under modified open rule, House Bill 840 is a department bill. Actually, under the guidelines of this committee, we put two bills in this one to save some time. We have the definition of a feral hog, but the primary bill allows the film industry to have a permit to film indigenous wildlife. They've been turned away about 40 to 50 times so far this year. Last year. This fixes that.
Any questions on that? Mr. Powell. Jay. You got a bill? Good morning.
I'm still waking up. HB 765 is basically an amendment to what we did last year in appointing members to the local DFACS boards. It's come to my attention that even though we said teachers can be on there, the position that has been taken is that doesn't include retired teachers. And so we need to keep that expertise on those boards and people who've got time to serve. So that's what this bill does. And I would ask for your favorable consideration.
Questions? Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My bill is the last one on the second page, House Resolution 1198. It simply encourages the EPD to review its rules and regulations as it applies to aquifer storage recovery, to revise where needed, and for public hearings on this. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Price. Never mind. Mr. Dixon. Which one of y'all got your button pressed? Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker. Holy moly!
I don't
Must
want
be early.
that job.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put my name beside HB 739. Mr. Tanner's bill is a great educational transparency bill.
Mr. Setzler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll put my name next to Representative Strickland's HB 870. Important measure there. He's done a lot of work on and worked out some important details too.
Mr. Willard.
I would like to add my name, Mr. Chairman, to Chairman Powell's Bill 765. That was a bill I had last year. I question whether we need actually put in retired or active, but it does remove a question that some of the local boards have about whether they can get retired persons involved. So it's a good bill.
Mr. Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to put my name next to HB 840, Chairman Stevens' bill regarding the rules and regs for the film industry.
Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to put my name beside HB 659, Representative Belton's bill.
Ms. Abrams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to request HB 483 because riverine fish are incredibly important in this state and can help with economic development.
Mr. Fleming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Procedurally, what would be the appropriate time to ask the chair to send the bill back to committee at the author's request?
Right now.
That'd be House Bill 781. Representative Rostenberger and the chairman have requested that bill come back to Government Affairs. It's not on the blue sheet, Mr. Chairman. It's on the yellow sheet. It hadn't made it to the blue sheet yet.
Okay, y'all have heard Mr. Fleming. Do I have a second? Any opposed to that going back to committee? It's back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to put my name beside HB 614 and also HB 765.
Anyone else? Okay. On the back page, under modified structure, this is, wait a second, this is for tomorrow's calendar, Tuesday. Since y'all didn't take the time to harass a freshman with his first bill, I'm going to put it on there anyway. That gives you time tomorrow to be extraordinarily nice to a gentleman that is carrying my bill here Wednesday. HB 866. Move. All those in favor signify by aye. I expect none of you all to ask him any questions. Second page under modified open, HB 870. Modified, what did I say? Modified structure. Excuse the stupidity. Several motion. All in favor signify by aye. Opposed, same sign. It's on. Under modified open, HB 483. That's the one Democratic bill we're going to have this year, so. Okay, for all those in favor signify by aye. Any opposed? It's on. Under modified open, HB 697. All in favor signify by aye. Any opposed? It's on. Under modified structure, HB 739. All those in favor signify by aye. Any opposed? It's on. Under modified structure, HB 765. You gonna second that one, Jay? All right, there you go. It's nearly time to get out of bed. All those in favor signify by aye. Any opposed? It's on. We'll just average 6 a day for the rest of the session. That's it.